Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Khalifah. I'm going to divide this presentation into 6 sections, namely the introduction, the literature review, methodology, findings, conclusions, and finally the question and answer session. Dar and Khan 2015 has stated that writing is the most challenging area in learning a second language. It is based on appropriate and strategic use of language with structural accuracy and communicative potential. The initial outbreak of novel disease 2019, COVID-19, began in December 2019 from the Wuhan city of China, SAHU 2020. It has globally affected the educational institutions, and we have to move from physical to online delivery mode, stated by Guin 2020. According to the matriculation divisions, students are required. I have divided the problem statement into two. The first one is on the student's part, and the second one. Lecturers, on the other hand, have problems assessing their work after lecture hours in terms of participation and contribution as it is a group project. Therefore, the probability to award the problems faced drew us to look for alternative methods of course delivery beyond the constraints of the face-to-face teacher-fronted root learning modes. So here we are, COPT, the Collaborative Online Learning Program. So first and foremost, I have introduced the student to the concept of the Google Drive application. Next, they have to create their groups and add group members. And then they have to install the applications on their mobile phone to ensure flexible usage, meaning that they don't just use their laptops or tablet, but they can also use the application in their mobile phone. Last but not least, they have to familiarize themselves with functions of the application. Now, before I proceed to the next part of the research, I would like to Now I'm going to focus on literature review. First one on the blended learning. Krasnova and Jeff 2015 has stated that the student-centered learning approaches are a modern leading trend in the contemporary realism of education, gain their popularity due to the emphasis on the flexibility of learning by taking into account learners' individual differences in learning, their styles, learning habits, and learning pace. The student-centered learning approaches also believe in providing students with self-paced online learning opportunities along with traditional face-to-face classroom in enhancing students' learning performances in the English language. This integration of online and face-to-face is known as blended learning, which propose innovative ideas and educational practices and alter the roles to be played by the lecturer as well as students. Collaborative writing is defined as an activity in which two or more learners interact with each other throughout the writing process to jointly produce a single text. It requires mutual engagement between learners, sustained peer interactions, and cooperation, shared decision-making processes, and shared responsibility for the completion of the task. The current study had employed several data collection instruments to collect detailed information about the phenomena under study and to triangulate, validate, and cross-check the data obtained from the various research instruments. As such, the researchers had utilized a focus group semi-structured interview, online discussions, and observations to gather the required data for answering the research questions. The procedure starts with the introduction to the COP, and then the researcher assigns the project to the students. They are introduced to the stages of writing, and then here at this part, scaffolding, collaborating, peer reviewing, and peer editing will take place. Observation and giving comments online will start from the first day until the end of the sessions. We are here at the findings and discussion part. Research objective number 1. To investigate students' perceptions on the usage of the COPT as an intervention to improve their writing based on the aspect of number 1, functionality and usability, and number 2, peer review. On the functionality and usability aspect, student 1 stated that it is easier editing than by hand, more natural, it is not as strict as if you just have paper at home, stated by student number 3. Student number 4, to encourage for you to write more because more people can read it. So they are giving some comments on the functionality and the usability of this intervention. All right. Next, student number 5, not to bother. I use it for lunch and I don't care if people are going to read because in one way it's going to help me. Very positive input. An exchange with experience between each other. And then student 7, he was hesitate at first. Student 8 was worried to start, and student 9 stated that a bit like extra pressure, but in a good way. Next, we move to the giving comment aspect. Right? So student 1 stated that it is friendlier to tell face to face than to write. Student 2, I think I can comment now. At the beginning, it was difficult because writing was not my strongest skill. But now, yeah, I can comment. Student 3, if I am more sure of my writing, I think I will be more sure to make comments for everyone. Student 4, people will trust you, means that the lecturer, more than me. That's for me as well. I'm afraid if I write something, my comment will be a mistake. So I have to be sure first before I write anything. Student 6, when I give comment, it helped me to correct my mistake as well. And so it's one way I can improve. You can see that the students are giving positive comments on the usage of COP in their writing performance, in their writing assignments, right? And as student 7, sometimes I highlighted my friend's mistake and left them comments. This was very useful for me to increase my knowledge. Student 8, I do not know what to comment actually, so I just praised them. And last but not least, student 8, I corrected and thought about it, about why it was right. So just now, we can see comments given by the students when they were giving their comments to their friends writing, right? Now we move on to the next one, which is the receiving part, yeah, when they receive comments by their friends. First one, student 1, useful and a nice experience. Student 2, I can improve my writing based on the comments given. I corrected and thought about why it was right. Student 3. Student 4 stated that sometimes they highlighted my mistakes and left me comments. This was very useful for me to increase my knowledge. I know the mistake I've made. I can change the spelling I always got wrong. Sometimes I put extra articles in it and it made me realize through the comments. Student 8, easier, quicker. And student 9, a great source of encouragement. The answer for this research objective can be found through the observation by the researcher from the beginning of the project. Key advantages of the collaborative environment that the usage of blended learning provided have already been discussed, and it can clearly be seen through the snapshot shared. As a conclusion, we can say that the program does provide students with a collaborative environment where both peers and the lecturer can help to develop an individual's writing skill. Each of the students interviewed expressed that throughout that I would like to thank you, and we move on to the question and answer session. Thank you very much.